Welcome back. In the previous video, we just finished scripting out movement functionality, including movement with the keys, jumping, looking around with the mouse, as well as support for console controllers for these mechanics. But we're still just looking at this empty capsule component, and we want an actual mesh. So let's get that in this video. Go ahead and open up your Epic Games launcher and click on the Marketplace tab. This is where we can get assets for our project, and there's always free content that we can download. For our character, we're going to use one of the Paragon assets. If you haven't browsed the Paragon assets, you can simply search for Paragon in the Marketplace, and you'll see a whole bunch of really cool assets. For this tutorial series, we're going to use Bellica. So search for Paragon Bellica, and you'll see Paragon Lieutenant Bellica. Go ahead and add this to your project. Once you've downloaded it, it'll show up in the Library tab in your vault. Find it in your vault and click Add to Project. Select your project and click Add to Project. You'll see a progress bar, and when it's done filling up, Bellica will be in your project. Once it's finished adding the asset to your project, you can open the Unreal Engine editor, and now in the content folder, you'll see a new folder called Paragon Lieutenant Bellica. Click the drop down and you'll see some folders. There's all kinds of assets in these folders. Click the drop down next to Characters, click on Heroes, Bellica, and Meshes, and you'll see here that we have the Lieutenant Bellica skeletal mesh, skeleton, and other assets as well. Now we have a mesh to set for our character. Close the drop down next to Paragon Lieutenant Bellica, open the drop down for _game and select character, and open shooter character BP. Click open full blueprint editor and select mesh. I'm going to click on the viewport tab so we can see this update. In the mesh section of the details panel, we have a skeletal mesh property. This is where we can set the skeletal mesh for our mesh skeletal mesh component. Click the drop down and we have a whole bunch of things to choose from now. We're going to choose Bellica. Okay, once it's finished loading, we'll now have Bellica as our skeletal mesh for the skeletal mesh component. Now you'll notice she's facing sideways. She's actually facing the Y direction, which is the right direction, but we want her facing the forward direction or the X axis. So we're going to select her and hit the E key so we can rotate her, and I'm going to rotate her by 90 degrees. Now the base of her feet are right here in the middle of the capsule. Now if we take a look at the capsule component, the capsule half height is 88. So we can bring the mesh down by 88. So let's take the location and the Z component of that and type -88, enter. And now if we zoom in, we'll see that her feet are exactly at the bottom of the capsule. So now we have a mesh. Let's compile and save this and close out of the blueprint, and when we hit play, we'll see that we now have Bellica as our skeletal mesh. Now notice she doesn't animate at all. She just stands there completely frozen, and that's because we haven't set up any animation functionality. That's what we're going to do in the next videos to come. So stay tuned. Soon we're going to get her animated.